Welcome to the Drum Shuffle, a podcast offering insights, perspectives, and conversations for drummers. I'm your host, Jamie Eads.
Hey, how's it going out there, everybody? Welcome to the Drum Shuffle podcast. Jamie Eads joining you as I do each and every week. This is episode 130. 130 episodes down. I hope everybody's having a fantastic week out there. We're having a great week over here, as always. Lots of good stuff going on right now. I got a little studio time coming up for myself, starting to book some gigs, some festivals for late summer, early fall. Live music is starting slowly to make a comeback here in my neck of the woods. I hope that's the same for you wherever you're at. Make sure you go see a live show before it all goes away. That is our mantra for the year of 2021 here at the Drum Shuffle podcast. Go see a live show before you can't. It's really important. Guys and girls, we have a fantastic episode for you today. I'm going to be joined by the wonderful, the marvelous, the great Jeff Fabb from Black Label Society, right after this message from our sponsor, Los Cabos Drumsticks.
The best kept secret for drummers is finally out. Los Cabos Drumsticks may look like the sticks you grew up with, but these are not your father's drumsticks. Los Cabos Drumsticks is Canada's #1 drumstick brand, and they are coming to a retailer near you. With operations in over 28 countries worldwide, thousands of drummers have already discovered the Los Cabos difference. Using FSC certified wood from Canada and the US, Los Cabos make the finest quality drumsticks, percussion tools, and accessories on the market. The best news, Los Cabos Drumsticks offers you a ton of choice. They have 22 individual drumstick models and 14 percussion tools, many of which are available in 3 different wood types: maple, white hickory, and red hickory. Red hickory comes from the center or heart of the hickory tree and has been independently proven to be both stronger and more elastic than white hickory without adding a lot of weight. While most drumstick manufacturers have shunned red hickory, Los Cabos Drumsticks has embraced it, becoming the only established stick brand in the world to offer a full line of red hickory drumsticks. To learn more about Los Cabos Drumsticks, visit them online at loscabosdrumsticks.com, follow them on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, and don't forget to ask for Los Cabos Drumsticks at your favorite retailer. Dare to be different. Join the Red Hickory Revolution with Los Cabos Drumsticks.
All right, guys and girls, as I mentioned before the break there, we're joined today by the great Jeff Fabb from Black Label Society. And, you know, I got to tell you, Jeff is, the quintessential Long Islander, just a super nice guy. And I will say this, doing this show and being in the music industry for as long as I have been, I've met some really big rock stars, and you always know that they're really big rock stars. If you met Jeff Fabb tomorrow in a McDonald's, you would not know that this cat is a rock star. He is one of the most humble guys that you will ever meet. His humility is real. Just a super nice guy, an awesome hang, and just very thankful for where he's at. And he has had just such a great career. He's played in a lot of different great bands, and we cover all that. This is a pretty wide-ranging interview, and I know you're going to get a lot out of it. But, he's been in Black Label Society now since 2013, I want to say, and did some fill-in work prior to that. With Zach Wild in the band. So I know you're going to get a lot out of this. Please help me welcome to the Drum Shuffle, Jeff Fabb. Jeff Fabb, how are you, brother? Welcome to the Drum Shuffle.
Oh, I'm stoked, man. Thanks for having me.
Oh, man, thanks for taking time to do it. We really appreciate it. So how are things up there on the magnificent Long Island? Weather good, springtime?
Well, now Yes, now it's all nice and beautiful and warm. We had a cold winter. We had like 8 or 9 snowstorms.
Wow,
so
man.
It was, it was cold.
Well,
it was cold and
you get the global pandemic and the blizzards. That's fantastic, right?
Yes. So you're wearing a mask and you're freezing at the same time.
That's so funny, man. So funny. Well,
oh man.
So, I know we've got a lot to get to in our time together here, but let's do this. You've been playing now with Zach and Black Label Society since like 2013. And, I think a lot of people know a lot of that stuff. Like there's a lot of fans of Zach and Black Label Society and what you guys are doing. But, as is our tradition here on the Drum Shuffle, let's go all the way back to the young Jeff Fabb growing up on Long Island. Okay.
Okay.
You started playing what, around 10 or 11 years old, something like that?
Yeah, it was about 11 years old. I think when I actually, it was 11 when my mom finally caved and got me a drum kit. But I was like playing on my friends. I had friends in school that had drums, and I'd be over at their house sitting on their drums the whole time when I went over their house to hang out with them. And, it took a little bit, but then finally my mom, she got me a drum kit. And I think it was about 11 years old when I got that drum kit.
I got you. Now, do you come from a musical family?
Not really. Kind of. My sister did play a little organ, so we had an organ in the basement, and there was a guitar hanging around. I don't know whose that was. It was one of my family members through the years. It was one of those Harmony. I don't know if you remember those Harmony. You remember those Harmony acoustics?
Yeah.
And that was hanging around, but not crazy musical, but there was some instruments hanging around, and I loved music from an early age, and then when MTV hit, for all of us, it was like, then it was just like, that's when it just really exploded, and I was like enamored with that. We didn't even have cable at our house, and I remember my neighbors had it. And I would always go over there and I'd be watching MTV the whole time at their house. And, oh man, yeah, it was awesome.
I got you. Well, what were who were some of the first, heroes for you? Did you grow up being, a hard rock guy, or was it just, whatever was popular at the time? What were some of those seminal acts, I guess?
Okay. Yeah. I guess for me it was obviously like Bonham, because we had a few records in the house too when I was growing up. We had like some Zeppelin records, we had some Black Sabbath, we had some Van Halen. So it was pretty much like Alex Van Halen. It was Bill Ward. It was Tommy Lee, you know what I mean? It was Nico McBrain. It was, that's what it was when at first.
I got you. Yeah, for sure.
The beginnings. It was that. And then, obviously it grew from there.
Yeah.
But growing up, for us, I don't know how old you are, but for me, it was growing up. It was like bands. It was bands and band guys.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think,
know what I'm saying, dude? Like it was like the drummer from this band or the guitar player from that band.
Yeah.
That's how it. So, but those were like the first guys for me, for sure.
Well, I think we're pretty close in age. I'm not exactly sure, and I never ask a lady to share her age. So but
I'm 105.
Okay, well, yeah, I feel that way every day. But
yeah.
But I think we're from.
Me too, man.
I think we're from the same era, and it was different. Like I started playing. I think I was 12 when I got my first kit. And, this was the late 80s, and the popular stuff of the day was, like you said, it was Motley Crue, it was Bon Jovi, it was,
right.
it was all the hard rock stuff, and it was everywhere, so you really couldn't escape it. Now, when you got your first kit, did you take formal lessons or are you a self-taught cat?
I was self-taught, and then I took lessons from a guy named Mark LaRosa out here on the Eastern End. And what was cool about him was he was a guitar player, gave guitar lessons and drum lessons, and bass lessons. But he would come over with his guitar and jam with you.
Yeah.
So and it was really, to me, I'm so glad that I learned that way, because I immediately just learned how to play with somebody.
Yeah. Well,
you know what I'm saying? So I didn't necessarily, I learned more from him that way, I guess is what I'm saying. I didn't really, I knew kind of paradiddles. I knew those kind of things. And, in all honesty, when I was young, I didn't really want to practice that stuff. I wanted to play along to like records and, do that kind of thing.
Sure. So did you, and I think it's a geography thing too, but did you do any of the, school sponsored stuff like, pep band, jazz band, marching band, any of those kind of things? No,
I didn't do any of that. You know what? It's kind of funny. I never did any of that, but I did have I had bands in high school.
Okay.
So I had bands that we would always play at the variety show, those variety shows. I'm sure your high school had those too.
Sure.
We were always playing at those things and playing at like Battle of the Bands at the like the Strawberry Festivals that happened out here and things like that. But I was never in like high school band or anything like that.
I gotcha. Okay. So,
yeah.
So, and I know that, shortly after you graduated high school, you made the move out west, but, I don't want to skip too far ahead here. At what point in your young playing career did you decide, hey, this is something that I really want to chase? I mean, did you make that decision right away, or did you think about it for a bit before you were...
Well, actually, you know what happened? Like, I think when I was around 14 or 15 to about 16, I stopped playing.
Oh, wow.
And I got into I started going to like raves and stuff and hanging out with like we started doing all these other things. And I kind of just didn't play for a little bit. And I think it was maybe like a year or 2 years. And then I remember going into like a guitar center or something with my friend, and he was like, "Play something," And I sat down at the drums, and I could barely play anything. You know what I mean? Like, and I remember being like, "Oh my God." I can't believe I don't know really how to, that I lost how to play kind of. And then I remember that being like really monumental and the feeling I had. And then I just started playing again, and I got together with friends and we were jamming and where I grew up out here, it's really, especially 20 years ago, it's a small town, there's not really music venues, it's like more bars and things like that.
Yeah.
But it's, and we're also 2 hours out of the city,
right.
So I had visited my sister in LA, like when I was about 7, I think I might've been like 18, right? I think I was about 18. I visited my sister out in LA. She lived in Venice. And then I was just like, I'm going to move out here. It's like, cause nothing was really, I was trying to like play with my friends and get something happening. And it's difficult. Anybody that's tried to start a band knows that road and knows that feeling. It's a rough one, trying to get people committed and, on the same page as you and want it as much as you do, And I just couldn't get that here on out in Mattituck. And I took my sister up on the offer and I moved out there.
Okay.
And that was about in 1998, I think I moved out there.
Okay. Well, I mean, and that was, and we talk about this on the show, but that was a period of time where kind of the rock scene had actually died down in LA a bit.
Yes.
Like the mid 90s, kind of after the grunge movement of the early 90s, the rock scene was, waning, I guess you would say, in LA.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So I'm sure when you got there and started, trying to, put the band together, as you say, it's real hard in a place like LA because you can throw
the music connection, man. We would get the music connection and go in the back of the classifieds.
Yeah.
And just start calling numbers, bro. Oh man.
Yeah, man. And it's hard when you're the new guy in a big place like LA or Nashville or Austin or Seattle or any of these big cities that are known for music because, you can throw a rock and hit a great player anywhere in town.
Oh, totally. Oh, my God. I know. They're everywhere.
So I mean, what was that like? I mean, I know what your first kind of break was, and I'm not going to steal your thunder on that, but this was the era, before really, I guess the internet was a thing in the late 90s, but it wasn't like you couldn't just jump on Facebook and put a post up and then have, 300 responses. You were doing it in the classified ads, really.
Totally. Yeah. And it's like, especially you had to move to go play places like that. Now it's like, with the, internet, you can just post videos of yourself playing,
Right.
And people are like, whoa, this guy's awesome, but it was a whole nother world.
Yeah. It really was
a whole nother world then.
It really was. And I think some of my younger listeners to the podcast, they just don't have any idea because it's always been at your fingertips to find anything or anybody, but when I was coming up, there was no YouTube to figure out, that opening fill in a song. You had to listen to the record.
I know. We talk about that all the time.
About
having a listening for things and, and playing it that way,
Yeah, for sure, man.
Instead of watching and learning, oh, there it is right there.
Right. Yeah.
We were like, playing it wrong and then figure it out the right way and right.
Yeah, for sure, man. It was a different time. So I'm assuming once you got to LA, you started kind of throwing your hat in the ring, so to speak. How long did it take for you to get some traction?
Well, I mean, like, there's so many people there trying to play, so getting to play you can get playing pretty fast.
Yeah.
So it was like, I just started calling those numbers in there and, going and I remember I didn't even have my drums there yet. I had brought my snare, my pedals, and I was using my pedal against my snare drum case, for real. And then playing my snare at this one, I remember at this one audition thing, I remember doing that. I just had my ride, my hi-hats and snare and then my pedal hooked to my snare drum case. And I just started calling those things and, man, that's in itself. It's it's weaving through all of these different bands and what they want to do. And it was crazy, and then what was good was going to open jams. I started going to those. I started finding out where they were.
Yeah.
And then going to those and just kind of showing up and trying to get in there to play. Really.
Yeah, for sure.
It was crazy too because I didn't know anybody, man. So moving to LA by myself was crazy. I didn't, I came from a small town out, 3,000 miles away, so when I got there, my sister lived there, but she lived in Venice and I moved to Silver Lake.
Okay.
Which is kind of downtownish, but off the Sunset Boulevard. And so I didn't have a car. So she was she might as well have been in another state, because I couldn't even go hang out with her really. So it was definitely an interesting time and a growing time,
Yeah. Well, I mean, if there's any city on the face of the planet more tied to their cars than LA, I don't know what it is,
I know.
And if you don't have a car,
you need that.
Yeah.
You need a car there,
you need a car to do anything in SoCal.
Yeah.
So
I got lucky, dude. I got lucky with a lot of cool people that were willing to come pick me up and put their drums in the back of their car or whatever they did, you know, it was, yeah.
Well,
yeah, it was cool.
So I know you hooked up with some folks, and, you know, kind of your first big break was with In This Moment. And, you know, that band is such a cool story because, you know, that band was really early adopters of, you know, what we had available as social media at that time, which was MySpace, you know, and you guys basically built a following through MySpace. But, you know, I think there was a former member of Five Finger Death Punch in the band. You know, correct me when I get this wrong, because I'm sure I will. But, you know, you guys really built a following and did some great work during that time.
Well, thank God for that thing, man, for MySpace, because we were I remember Chris just sitting there and adding all day and night for days, you know, days into weeks into months, just doing that. And then, do you remember how it used to rank the bands though? It would rank unsigned to major label to indie.
Yes.
You remember that?
Yes, I do.
That was really cool, man. That's how we got kind of like seen by Blasco, was that way. Cause he was going, oh, who's this band that's like ranking up here and like, you know, in the top 5, you know?
Yeah.
Like with all these other bands. And that's how he noticed it through there. So, but MySpace, you know, that was how we got our beginning, really. Well, and then we started touring kind of off of that. The basis of like our fan base was kind of like on the West Coast from like where it started, you know, kind of California down to Texas, and we just did that consistently.
Yeah, well, and you mentioned Blasco in there, and you know that's pretty huge, because when you get, you know, a producer of that caliber that's you know starting to call you up and talking to you, you know, you get pretty excited, you know, when you're an indie band, you know, and that, I mean, I think that working with him kind of put you guys on the map, you know, for real. Does that make sense?
Oh, without a doubt. Well, he, you know, man, meeting him, that's when everything just started to open up, you know, cause it was cause he, you know, he is Mercenary Management, and he came, you know, I mean, he got us on our, like, we had already done some tours. Like I just said, we were doing that little, you know, we would go from California to Texas and, you know, back and forth from there. But, you know, he was just like so crucial in everything, you know, because of the fact that when he got involved, all of a sudden, like, it just felt like, now that I'm thinking about it, everything came fast, man.
Yeah.
You know, like we started touring with Power Man 5000, and then we were on like a Megadeth tour. Then we were on tour with Ozzy, you know, and that's actually when I met Zach.
Okay.
Was on that tour in 2007.
Okay. Well, you know, growing up as a Black Sabbath fan, going on tour with Ozzy, I mean, you had to be like, your head must have been spinning around, right?
Dude, it was crazy. I had my childhood buddy who I grew up playing with on that tour with us. That we grew up like watching all the Ozzy shit. You know what I mean? We loved Black Sabbath. And so for like us, it was just insane. We were just like, can you believe we're actually on this tour right now? You know, it was amazing, dude. It was so amazing.
I mean, I can only imagine, you know, and look, when you get to do something like that, I mean, it's so affirming, right? You're like, wow, I'm really a professional musician now. You know, when stuff like that happens, like, I'm not saying you weren't a professional before that, but what I'm saying
is...
No,
I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying. Totally.
Like,
I feel like I'm looking back more at it now and like really going like, holy cow.
Yeah.
Like, I can't even believe it. You know?
Yeah. I mean, it's just one of those Cinderella kind of stories, you know. I mean, I know, like, you know, I've played in bands and we've done, you know, festivals, you know, like playing with Peter Frampton, for example. I was like,
Yeah.
holy shit, man, we're playing with Peter Frampton. You know,
fucking humble pie.
Right, exactly. You know, so
hell yeah, dude, totally.
You're like, I must be a professional now. So,
yeah.
But so I mean, you know, obviously that band ran its course, and you guys put out some great music. And I'm not trying to gloss any of that stuff over, but, you know, at some point you made the decision. I think you had just finished a tour within this moment, and you got a call from James Durbin, who had, I guess, just finished up his run on American Idol and was putting together a band and going on tour.
Yep.
And, you know, I mean, he was like the hottest thing in hard rock there for a hot minute, because he was the only, you know, he was the only new guy getting any attention in the world of hard rock, you know?
Totally. And then he was bringing, you know, he brought Priest on the show. He brought Zach on the show.
Yeah.
You know, he was, you know, people were digging him. And plus that he had, you know, he had a good message, and he was, you know, he was all for the kids, and, you know, he had a good heart, you know, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, I know you did a lot of work with him, and I was going to ask the question. It didn't dawn on me that you guys had toured with Ozzy, you know, in this moment, had toured with Ozzy, and that's how you met Zach. I knew that James had Zach on American Idol with him.
Yeah.
And I wondered if maybe that was the connection to Zach, but you kind of...
No, it wasn't at all. It wasn't at all.
Okay.
I met him back in 2007.
Okay. All right.
And then in 2012, I filled in.
Oh, okay. That's right. Okay. I'm remembering now. Okay.
Yeah. So in 2012, then that's when Blasco called me, and I was actually in Nashville working on James Durbin's record with James Michael from 6 a.m.
Okay. All right.
So that's the 6 a.m. connection too, because I played on the Modern Vintage record. That's
right.
With them, and that's how I met them, is through James Michael working on Durbin's record.
Okay. So I kind of connected the dots in my head just now.
Yeah. So exactly. So then I was there, and I got, you know, and then Blasco had called and said, hey, you know, you want to go fill in for Black Label? I was like, hell yeah, you know. and then, you know, in the next few days I was flying there. I was flying to Newfoundland, and we were going to, and that was it. I rehearsed with him. We rehearsed before the show, like the day before the show, and in the arena, in the hockey arena, and then we played.
Wow, man.
Yeah.
Now, if
and it was like,
if that isn't like a ringing endorsement of why you should always take sub gigs very seriously. Right?
Yeah, and also, even if you're scared to death, say yes.
Right, man.
Like even if you're shitting, just do it. You know.
So great. So
seriously.
So you literally rehearsed and then played an arena gig with Black Label Society as a sub, and
yes.
You know, I'm assuming you and Zach have quite a bit in common, because Zach's originally like a New Jersey guy, right? I mean...
Oh, yeah, and so is JD.
Right. So, I mean...
Yeah, and then all of them are really... a lot. You know, most of them, everybody on the crew, too, is East Coast. Not all of them, but, you know, there's a lot of East Coasters on there.
I got you.
Especially at that moment, there was even more.
Okay. So,
yeah.
So essentially, you subbed that gig for a few months, I think. And
no, I subbed it for the Canadian and then South American part. I think it was like about a month.
Okay, and I guess was Chad the permanent member at that point?
Yeah.
Okay.
Chad was drumming at the time, and I love him, and he's my buddy, and I love him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And he's phenomenal. He's phenomenal. You know, drummer and. In person too, you know, good dude, man. I love that guy. But yeah, I filled in, and that was that. And then when I got off of that, I ended up going to Filter, and I played in Filter for a little while.
Yeah. So I saw that, and, you know, I don't know how that escaped me, but, you know, that was when Filter was really hitting on all 8 cylinders too. So
that's when the one record came out with hey, what do you say? And anyway, whatever. I think I forgot the name of the album, but it was rad. It was a good album. Yeah, so that was right around that time with the with Filter.
Okay.
And so I went and played with, I went because I came back and then we were I did a few things with James, and then I had met Richard Patrick when I was in This Moment because we toured with Filter.
Okay.
So we became friends, and then every once in a while we'd be texting or whatever. And then one time he texted me and he was like, "Hey, you know any drummers?" I was like, "Well, I am. I'm a drummer, And he's like, "Well, I'm looking for a drummer." And I was like, "Cool. I want to be a drummer, So, I ended up, going and playing with them, which was awesome,
Yeah.
And did a bunch of festivals and Australia with them, and it was such a good time. And then after about that's about 2 years, between those two things. And then Chad had left.
Yeah.
Black Label. And then they were like, hey, that was 2014. They were like, hey, do you want to, you join the band? And then that was it. So since 2014, we've been touring, man. It's been amazing. Been amazing, dude. And it was such amazing dudes, too. I love them, They're the best. So it's just it's great. I love, playing with them and touring with them and hanging with them. It's a good time.
So, all right. So I've got to ask, what must it be like? And you can answer this because you were there, right? What is it like when somebody like Zakk Wylde calls you up and says, hey, man, do you want to join Black Label Society? What is that phone call like? Seriously, because that changes your life immediately.
Yeah. Yes. Actually, when I went to fill in, I had him on my answering, on my messages saying hey, this is Zakk Wylde, bro. I just wanted to know if you wanted to come roll with Black Label. You know what I mean? And I saved that message forever. And for some reason I lost it, and I wish I never did. But yeah, it's like one of those things you dream about. That's why you never give up.
Yeah, for sure, man. Well, look, I know you paid a metric ton of dues over the years, but that call, again, it changes your life because now you are, national headlining act everywhere you go. Everything is going to be first class. You have a tech now. It just really changes everything for you as a professional musician.
Yes.
And I'm guessing, just knowing what I know about you, Jeff, you don't take any of that stuff for granted.
Hell no, dude. No.
So,
you can't. You know why? Because in a heartbeat, it can change.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure, man.
In honesty, it really, it can, so it's like, you got to just be grateful, man. That's it. You got to stay grateful, man, and be humble and be cool. And that's it.
Yeah. Well, and we've said this on this show 1.5 million times, your drumming is, that's one thing. And you've got to be good to roll in the circles that you've rolled in over the years. You have to be a good drummer, but that's only part of it. It's about the hang and about being trapped on the metal tube for 20 hours a day, riding to the next gig. Yes. So if you're the best drummer in the world, but you're a dickhead, you're not going to work.
Dude.
You're just not going to work.
You said it right there. That is it. Because it really is you listen, man, as long as you can play the song, that's good. That's good enough. So it's just because you can play all this other stuff, that's great. But all that's needed is to really just play that song right,
Yeah.
So they're, someone would much rather have the cooler person of those two be playing that song. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
So if you're the guy that's annoying and and a kind of a douche, and you can play all this stuff, they're going to pick the other guy.
100% of the time.
Yeah. Because nobody wants to live with that. Nobody wants to live with somebody like that.
Yeah.
You are. Essentially, that's what you're doing. You're living with everybody.
Well, I mean, we've said this, I don't know how many times, but, you're married to, however many people are in your band, whether it's 4 other guys, 5 other guys, 3 other guys. It's a marriage, and then you add all the crew guys that you have to live with every day. If you've got a touring party of 40 people or something like that, you got to get along with 39 other people every day.
Yeah, there's a lot. Yeah. Yep. Yep.
So,
and that's one good thing about everybody. In our crew, everybody is awesome. Everybody rolls and does their part and doesn't complain really. So it's a good fit. And yes, it's a lot of personalities, right? So the thing is, don't be another asshole personality. You know what I'm saying? Don't add to that.
Right on. Right on.
Don't add to it.
Well, and I just have to assume that Zach runs the operation like I don't know, a motorcycle gang,
like a well-oiled machine.
You probably don't want to have the justice of Zach Wilde coming down on you. That's all I'm saying.
Buford D. Justice, the hammer of truth.
So funny, man. So funny. Well, so let me ask you this. You've been playing with Black Label since, full time since 14. Zach is a very prolific songwriter, is how I'll say it.
Yes.
I mean, he's one of those dudes that you may show up to sound check and he's like, "Hey, I've got a new tune. We're playing it tonight." I mean, that could happen with a guy like him because he writes all the time. Were you nervous when you went into those first, kind of, hey, let's see how the new guy, comes along on the new material? Did you have any trepidation about that at all?
Meaning like when I was filling in?
No. I mean, like after you joined the band, when it came time to write with the band, like, hey.
Oh, like and go in the studio and record?
Yeah. So like what's the new guy going to come up with as far as his drum parts? Did you have any nervousness about that at all?
Not really. Cause I just go in there and just listen to the damn guitar track, you know what I mean? Listen to what he's playing and try to just play compliment it, right? I mean, that's it.
Yeah.
And then like he obviously has tons of ideas too, and then JD's in there too, and he's a genius, like, you know what I mean? So it's like it's really awesome to work with them because I like that. I want to be like, yo, check this out. What do you think about this? No, what do you got? They'll be he a lot of the time Zach has ideas too. He's got an idea, a skeleton idea of kind of a vibe he wants, right? So it's it's awesome. Recording with them was awesome. I mean, I guess I was probably I might have been thinking that maybe for a little bit, but man, I mean, after 10, you walk in, you start hanging out with everybody, that's out the door.
Yeah.
It's like, it's pretty lax, dude. Everybody's chill.
Yeah. Well,
nobody's over analyzing anything.
So you're telling me you guys aren't doing Steely Dan records. Is that what you're saying?
Well, maybe a little.
Oh.
But yeah, I mean, it's so it's pretty lax, and like you said, if it's like, hey, and another thing, there you go, right? When you say, don't be a dick. If somebody hasn't, like, if they don't want you to play on the fucking ride cymbal or something, like, don't do it. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yes, I do.
You know what? It doesn't really matter that much. Like your drum parts, right? Like, it's like, yes, I know, like, a lot of people, like, it's like, yeah, I would really like to have that on that song or this, that. But you know what, man? It doesn't really matter.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
So a lot of the time with, I don't mean that in the sense of like Neil Peart or somebody like that. I'm talking about like as far as, give it, don't be a dick in a situation.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. If you really, your heart's in it, you feel like, no, I want this, in there. It's like, it's not even worth it for the lick is what I'm saying.
Yeah. Well, and look, man, I've known guys that have worked themselves out of good gigs because they couldn't just play 4 on the floor, or
Right.
What I'm saying? Like,
right.
you don't,
yeah.
You don't have to be a burner all the time, just
right.
Just groove, So,
yeah.
Well, so I know that you guys have been doing a lot of recording during, our pandemic, no touring for the past year. You've had some different stuff going on, but I know that you've been traveling out to LA quite a bit and doing some recording with Zach out there. I'm assuming you guys probably have a record in the can, just waiting to put it out into the world.
Yeah, there was a lot of songs being written up there. Lots of songs.
Okay.
So that should, as far as when that is coming out, I don't even know, but I know that there was a lot of songs being written over there at the Black Vatican.
Okay. All right. Well, and that makes sense because, again, I don't think Zach just, said, okay, well, screw it. I'm going to take a year off. I mean, he's a guy that has to have his...
he got like fucking inspired, man. He was inspired.
Yeah.
My man was going. Yeah, so it was, he was writing a bunch of songs, so we were going and recording them. So, yeah. So when it is time for a new Black label, there'll be a lot of cool stuff.
Well, I mean, we're all looking forward to that. And I know that, you guys probably have some festival appearances later in the summer. I don't know exactly, but are you guys starting to book some stuff and get ready to fire the machine back up as well?
That's what I'm hearing, man. I don't have any definite dates or anything like that, or where we're playing, but I think I think I heard something about Sturgis.
Okay.
And some fly date stuff in August. So I'm stoked. I can't wait.
Cool,
I'm dying,
man.
bro. I can't wait to go out and see everybody,
Yeah,
and
man.
just see all the people and, man, be like, just have a good time.
Yeah. Well,
I'm stoked. I cannot wait.
I think when you take that away, when that's been your life for so long and everybody just slams the brakes on and it's like, no more touring, you can't go do it. You either have to switch gears and figure out some way to keep yourself busy, or you will go insane,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, totally.
So,
totally.
You said something in there, and I if you're cool with this, I'm going to have you be a guinea pig for the drum shuffle, if you don't mind. You mentioned,
all right, go ahead.
You mentioned fly dates, and we haven't really scratched the surface on what a fly date is on this show. And I get questions like this via email, and they're like, "What is a fly date? What does that mean?" And essentially, it means that you get on an airplane, you fly to wherever you're playing, you show up, the gear is there, you play, you get back on your airplane and fly home. It's not your normal touring production most of the time.
No.
So,
yes, correct.
So you're having to send an equipment rider out and say, here's the drums I want, here's the cymbals I need to pull off the show. Talk to us a little bit about how that process works.
Well, like you said, basically that's it. You're flying in. A lot of the time it's the festivals or some kind of festival. So you're flying in, and the crew will already, they'll go straight to the stage, start setting up everything, backstage, getting everything ready. And basically it's really kind of throw and go. I guess it all depends what kind of fly date you're doing. It's something like a fly date festival. You don't really have much time to get stuff right.
Yeah.
So a lot of fucking shit can happen is what I'm trying to say.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? A lot, you could definitely, monitor shit, you're not having, the right stuff in your ears or, whatever you're doing. Like those are the times that shit seems to happen on those throw and go shows like that,
Yeah.
So it can be a little testing as far as that. But, yeah, it's kind of like that. And, you're not playing on your gear, See, I got used to that early on, though, because when, in this moment, we go out on tours and we'd be playing with, Kitty. I remember touring with Kitty and doing some tours like that. And, the stages would be so small. They would just be like, hey, to the opening bands, can you guys play on this kit?
Yeah.
So I did so much of that that really helped me, I guess. Because it made me just not really, I didn't need for everything to be perfect all the time. Like my cymbals to be a certain height or, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, I do. And you just have to be adaptable, I mean,
Totally.
I've done backline gigs, where you show up and the backline kit is just thrashed and trashed
destroyed.
and the heads are all just, dished out. And I mean, it's a nightmare scenario, but you just got to deal.
That's it.
You just got to get up there and play. That's what you're getting paid to do. So, get up there and play, right? Don't
get up there and play and don't be an asshole.
Right. Don't complain about the broken cymbals. Just hit
right.
them,
Just be grateful as hell you're up there hitting those fucking things.
That's exactly right. So, well, I appreciate you talking us through that. I get questions about stuff like that and I try to explain it. I thought maybe you might help us, talk about the beauty of a fly date. Those are fun dates actually, because you get to sleep in your own bed most of the time, right?
Well, just yes, as far as sleeping in your own bed as the bus being your own bed. I guess if you're on tour and you're doing fly dates, sometimes that can be brutal though, because you got to go to the airport, then you're trooping through the airports, and then, you know what I mean? It's, I guess it all depends if you're doing fly dates in Europe too, because that can, it can be brutal if you're tired, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It can be brutal, but it's, you know what, man, it's all an amazing experience, it's the best, you know what I mean? But yeah, so I guess they, as far as the fly dates though, like we were just talking about, like, just playing on all kinds of weird gear, shit going wrong, and just getting through it.
Yeah, man, that's
not all the time, not all the time, but yeah, a lot of the time it is, right? And like you said before, it's like you said, adapt. It immediately brought us back to what we were saying earlier, to adapt.
Yeah.
In all of it. And then you can keep your gig. Because you're just adapting to the situation. You're not going against it,
Right. Well,
be cool. At
the end of the day, that's the goal, is to keep your gig. I mean,
dude, adapt.
Right.
For real.
Oh, so funny.
You nailed it with that, bro.
Well, I don't know about all that, but I do know that I hear from a lot of guys and girls that are like, I showed up for this backline gig and man, the drums were garbage. And like, I threw a fit. It's like, well, did that help you? Yeah. Throwing a fit isn't going to manifest a brand new drum set on that stage, right? All you're doing is yelling at some cat that, that rented out his kit for $200 for the weekend. That's all you're doing is just being mean to that guy, so. Yeah,
exactly. So just get used to it now and play on it as best as you can.
That's right. That's right. I've had kits that literally the hoops were held on with coat hangers from dry cleaning.
Oh, totally.
So
totally.
You just see all kinds of stuff out there, but, all right, so I'm going to switch gears on you a little bit here, Jeff, because we got to get to this. Talk to me about being a farmer for the past few months, okay? So
let me tell you something.
This is just a great story.
That'll make you appreciate music like you have no idea. It'll beat you into submission, make you get on your knees and start crying, begging for mercy.
Oh, so you took up farming during the pandemic. What the hell is that about?
Well, I can't say I took it up. My brother owns a farm, And he has a business on top of that, so he's like really busy. He's got a lot of guys working for him. So I've just been kind of helping on his farm. He's got an organic farm out here on the eastern end of Long Island in Cutchogue. And man, I'm telling you, I love it. I really do love doing the work because it's great. You know, he's got some chickens out there. He's got some ducks. You know, he's got some organic vegetables. It's an organic farm, so it's all organic grown stuff. So he's got vegetables and tomatoes. He also grows CBD.
Okay.
So I was helping him harvest all that CBD, and that is a lot of work.
Yeah,
that's a lot of work, man. So but it was cool. It was a different process, you know, learning how to do all that, and so I just been kind of since September. Pretty much just kind of helping him do that on this time off. You know, obviously listening to music and shedding and playing guitar too. And, you know, I think that's such a good thing for any drummer too, is just to also know how to play something else.
Yeah.
I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, man.
You know?
Yeah, for sure.
I learned how to play guitar. Later on. You know, now I kind of know how to play, but, it also made, you know, because it makes when you're playing, like you think about that more like, oh yeah, I don't want to play on this, you know, this lick, you know, this way. I don't want to play on top of this lick this way.
Yeah.
You know, because I don't know, for me anyway, it kind of really opened my ears a lot to that, a little more maybe than before.
Well, I mean, I think at the end of the day, it's when you're writing or composing, it's all a big puzzle. Like how do the pieces fit together? How am I going to fit into this overarching thing? Right.
Yeah.
So when you have that ability to play, you know, piano or guitar or bass or whatever, you kind of understand. Cause look, man, you're playing with Zakk Wylde. He's going to come out with some riffs and you don't want to squash some great lick that he's playing with a fill that doesn't fit.
Right. He'll turn around and bash you over the head with his guitar.
Les Paul to the left temple.
Right over the top of the head. Freaking knock you into the ground a few inches.
That's so funny, man.
Oh, man. You feel the wrath of Khan.
Yeah, man. And Zack's
much like farming. That's a much like farming moment, you know?
Yeah.
So.
Well, Zack's not a little dude either. I mean, the first 12 years of my life, man, I was on a dairy farm in Kentucky. And I'm telling you.
So you know what I'm talking about, dude. You know what I'm talking about.
I do. And there's not a day off from farming. There is no sick day, no vacation day. No, I'm going to lay on the couch today. There's none of that.
No. And it's, and especially if you have animals too, like chickens or anything like that. It's just, it's an everyday thing.
It is, man. And well, more power to you, but I'm going to go out on a limb and say you're not trading in your drumsticks for shovels.
No, definitely not.
So
if anything, but you know what though, man, again, you know, it just makes me appreciate it even more, you know?
Yeah.
And really does. And just being so humbled and grateful for everything really in my life. It's, I'm sure a lot of people have gone through some things, you know, in this COVID time. You know, it was a strange time for a lot of people, you know, thinking, wow, is this ever going to come back again?
I know.
Really, man? I mean, like, really, you know, like, wow, are we going to recover from this? Like, it's crazy.
I mean, I still have personal worries. You know, I'm certainly not playing on the level that you are. You know, I'm still, you know, a local guy, right? But I mean, I just think about my brothers and sisters in the industry, and it's not just the players, like the lighting techs and and the riggers and the monitor engineers. I mean, there's so many of those folks right now that are like, you know, working a job at Home Depot or, you know, driving Uber Eats or whatever the case may be. And they're like, man, when does my job come back? You know, and we got to do it right, because what we don't want to have happen is everybody go back to work for 6 weeks and then everything's shut down again. That would suck even worse, I think.
Totally. I agree.
So, I mean, if we do it the right way, and, it looks like the sun is going to rise again right now, I just think next year is going to be the year of the live show. If this year is the year
everybody's going to want that.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, if this year is the year of the record, next year will be the year of the live show, because everybody's putting out a record this year because everybody recorded last year, so I mean, I want to do it the right way for our industry so everybody can get back to work and doing what they love.
I know. Me too, man. Me too.
So speaking of all that good stuff, man, talk to me about this vinyl box set. Let's plug that real quick before, I want to be respectful of your time, but tell me about the big box set that you guys have out.
Yeah, it's No More Black box set. It's awesome. It's all the vinyls. And then like some cool stuff, some special stuff along with it. Like there's a cool booklet with a bunch of great photos in it. It's really awesome. I love it. It's like all the vinyl. So if you're a vinyl fan, you're going to totally love it.
Okay.
Rad.
Cool, man. So when did that hit the street? It was pretty recent, right?
Yeah. Just in the last few weeks.
Okay. All right, cool. So you guys be looking for that.
So blacklabelsociety.com, you can get all the information there.
Absolutely.
And then if you're looking for the CBD products, you can go to OregonRoadOrganics.com.
Good. Yeah, let's do that, man.
Because CBD is good for the aches and pains in the joints.
Yes, it is for sure. And if you purchase it from that company, Jeff Fabb quite possibly had a hand in making it and getting it into your hands.
I probably trimmed it for you.
That's so awesome, man.
Totally.
Jeff Fabb, Long Island farmer. I love it, man. That's so good.
Rock and roll farmer.
So good. All right, brother. Well, listen, man, like I said, I want to be respectful of your time. This has been such a cool hang. We've got to have you back when the record drops so that we can go through the record and talk about it. But you're welcome on this show anytime. This has been awesome.
Thank you. Well, I had such a blast, man. Thanks for having me, dude.
Yeah, for sure, man. So as is our tradition, the whole interview has been great. Been lots of great advice in here, but we always ask our guests for a good piece of advice. Like for all the drummers, the guys and girls listening, if you could boil down everything into a good piece of advice, what would you say?
Don't be an asshole.
That's perfect. Perfect. But it's so true, man. I mean, we'll expound on it a little bit. You didn't get where you're at because you were hard to work with.
Right.
Being adaptable, being nice, being cool to hang with. Those are all so important. And
so important.
You said something that I just want to re-highlight again. Okay. And that is all you have to do is play the song. That's really all you got to do.
Right.
And if you can play the song and be cool to hang out with, you're going to work more than somebody that overplays the song and isn't so cool to hang out with.
Totally. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that's all great advice. Brother, let's get you back on here when you guys, obviously I don't want to bug you while you're out on the road, but when you guys announce like a full tour for the fall or whatever you're doing, let me know. We'll have you back on. We'll talk about the record. We'll talk about the tour and we'll catch up, man. We'll see how the farming's coming.
Jamie, I want to do it. Definitely.
All right, brother. Well, listen, man, thanks so much for taking the time. I really do appreciate it. And we'll do it again real soon, man.
Hey, without a doubt. And listen, man, if you ever got a little irking for farming, and you want to do some farming, you can come out here. We got plenty of work.
Man, if you don't have at least like 50 cows that need to be milked twice a day, I don't know that I would know what to do, to be honest with you. Like that's all I knew was milking the cows, man.
That is so awesome, dude. That's great. I love it.
I'll tell you this, man. The worst day of drumming is better than the best day of dairy farming. That's all I got to say.
Oh man, I gotta agree with you on that too, bro. I have to agree.
So
that's too funny, brother.
All right, Jeff, man, thanks again for your time. We'll talk to you real soon, brother.
All right, Jamie. Talk to you soon.
All right. All right, guys and girls, that's going to wrap up episode number 130 of the Drum Shuffle podcast. As always, thanks so much for tuning in. We simply cannot do this without each and every one of you doing so week in and week out. Many thanks to Jeff Fabb for taking time out of his schedule to come on the show and talk with us. We super enjoyed having him. We've got a lot of great interviews coming up before we go on our traditional summer break. Next week, I'm going to be joined by the great Tom Van Skyke from Robert Earl Keen's band. Another superhuman being that is, I just know you're going to get a ton out of that. So make sure you hit the subscribe button on whatever platform you use to listen to the podcast. The biggest thing you can do to help us out, share a link with a friend. Tell somebody you know about the show. It helps us to continue to grow as a small and fiercely independent podcast. Thank you guys so much. As a reminder, we answer every single email that we get here at the podcast. The email address for you is thedrumshufflepodcast@gmail.com. Our web address is thedrumshuffle.com, and you can find more information about me over at jamieeads.com. Again, go see a live show. That's your homework assignment for this week. Go see a live band before it all goes away. Let's do our part. Go support the arts, go support local music if it is safe for you to do so. So until next time, may your heads stay strong and your sticks never break. Cheers, everybody.